Hello, friends. Uncle Marv back in Florida and with you for another episode of the IT Business Podcast, presented by our good friends over at Threat Locker. This is the Wednesday live show back at its regular time slot, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Since I saw you last in this slot, I have been to Lakeland, I have been to Philly, I have been to Orlando. It has been a whirlwind of a tour, road trip galore. And we're going to chat about all of that tonight. And we will be recapping conferences. We'll be recapping swag. I've got it all over the desk here, and I'll give you some thoughts there. And I may have a surprise guest. Some of you may recall that tonight was actually supposed to be a night where we had Tara Rummer come on live and join us, but Tara was in Orlando last week for IT Nation and somehow got caught up in all of the canceled flights, missed flights. That's what she claims. I think she just loved Orlando and wanted to stay, but nonetheless, she had to cancel for tonight. So I'm going to do all of the conference recap. And I reached out to a friend to see if they can join me, and we'll see if they do. But for now, let us keep on moving with the show. The first thing that I want to do is I want to ask for your help. So last week, I was contacted by the secretary of my longest tenured client. And he said that, yep, it's going to be time for us to get ready to shut down. And hello there, Chilla. Welcome to the show. So this client has been with me almost since I started the business. This business started officially in August of 1997. And this client has been with me since October of 1998. And I can prove that because I went back and found the invoice that I did for them, my very first visit that I did. And I sold them 2 used 14-inch CRT monitors with a 90-day warranty for $50. And I sold them 2 used ISA VGA video cards for $10. And it was an on-site service call of $30 with sales tax. That invoice came to $157.20. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, I have shared with many people that I have enjoyed my client staying with me for a very long time. I did do some other research, and yes, I can still do that because that is when I first purchased. I believe at the time it was Quicken Home and Business, which then converted into QuickBooks, which I still use today. So I have all of my invoices in there. I don't have anything from August of 97 until April 8th or whenever I started using the QuickBooks. But they reached out to me, and he is basically going to start shutting it down. This is a law firm that was actually referred to me by his ex-wife, who was also an attorney. And at the time, he was doing business with his brother, and they had a firm of probably 15 or 16 folks. And I have been through this with them for almost the entire time. They have moved several times. They have been up, they have been down, and it is now down to just he and his secretary. They are what I said, my longest tenured client since October 1998. The only reason that they're actually going to shut down, he probably still could go for a few years, but he's actually been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and is starting to have some memory issues. So we are going to slowly ramp them down. This is a client, I'm sure I've said the story, but I never probably said who it was. This is somebody who actually, we have their server and their two workstations here in our office, just over there, on the other side of the studio there. And he comes in every now and then to do work, but they're available for remote, even though they don't do it. But they're going to be shutting down. They pay me some rent, some co-location, costs as well as my regular management stuff. But he called our office today and told Kim that we need to do dinner or we need to do something. So obviously, for somebody that has been my client for this long, um, and yes, I can confirm that he is my oldest tenured client. I told you I went back, found the invoices. I did go back to before then. There is somebody that I still do business with that has been longer than him, but that person is a consultant, not technically a client, even though I've done stuff for them, but I actually help him. He helps me. So they are my oldest. But um, my question that I need help is I want to do something that is, I don't want to say spectacular, but I want it to be memorable. Even though he has Alzheimer's, he has enough wherewithal to call my office and say he wants to do something. So I need some ideas. And I know that some of you will watch this after the fact live. Some of you will listen to this. Hopefully, it's not too far down the road. But send me some ideas on what to do for this client for a nice dinner. I imagine that it will be he and his wife. I will ask if he wants the secretary to go. She has been with him most of the time that they've been my client, probably 15 plus of those years. Let me guess. Yeah, probably about that long, maybe longer. So I want to do something that's nice. And I don't want it just to be, just a typical regular dinner. So I'd like some ideas from you, my friends, uh, my fellow business partners. What would you guys do for a client that has been with you this long, that has been loyal? I'll be honest, folks, I don't think he ever questioned an invoice. I don't think that they ever question anything that I did for them. Anytime they had a major decision that had to be made, they actually asked me a lot of times, even when it came to moving. They asked me about the move. They asked me to see all the new spaces with them. They asked me to, when it came time for him to decide whether he was going to move out of this last space and eventually come here, they brought me into their office to ask me what I think they should do. So it's uh, it's going to be a little emotional, I would say, but I want to do something. I want to do it right, and I'd like some ideas from you. So that is not normally the way I start off the show, folks, but I thought I would do that because some of you won't listen later, and I would like those suggestions. So send them to me either by email, social media, or if you're here in the chat. Let's see, we've got some people over on the LinkedIn and somebody here on the YouTube. I don't have the Facebook up, so I don't know there, but uh, that will be that. One little tip that I want to share that happened to me today. Uh, we usually use the phrase that if you can't see it, you can't manage it. And I use that phrase a lot when it comes to remote monitoring and management because even though we do on site work, we do project work and all of that stuff, most of what we do is basically remote. And I always try to separate out all the remote stuff from the on-site stuff in the sense that I want to be able to see and know everything that's happening on a network at any given time. Now, we don't obviously keep logs of everything, but that's one reason why I love the Domotes product. If you are an Avic user, I'm sure that's why you love it. Our RMM also does some network monitoring as well. It gives you the uptime. There are other products that we have added to the stack that will allow us to do things. We put in watt boxes so that if we need to do a hard physical reset on a device, we can do that. The Domotes boxes allows us to do wake on LAN if a machine gets turned off. And I have been for the last, I don't know, year or so researching OID sensor codes to put in for SNMP monitoring within Domotes so that we can monitor other things. We have put in, let's see, some Synology boxes that have temperature sensors in there. But the reason I want to bring this up is I want to emphasize the idea that I'm trying to do is try to monitor everything, and that includes temperature. One of the things that I've not done is actually purchase one of those temperature devices that you can put in a server room so that if the temperature uh, gets too high, that you'll be notified. They have flood sensors, which is probably something we should do here in Florida with all of our storms. But this morning, I woke up to a frantic client because several of their servers were down. And so I went and logged in, tried to figure out what was going on. I wasn't sure if it was updates or not. They all went off at a weird time. It was like 2:10 a.m. So it wasn't updates because I don't do scheduled updates overnight anymore. I do those through Action One. So that's always something that I plan out. It's usually over a weekend or a late night that we do those. I thought that it was something to do with their remote servers because actually I was able to get up. They actually had 5 servers down. They didn't have anything else down. And 2 of the servers came up. The 3 remote servers, they actually have 6, so 3 of them weren't having any issues. 3 were. I would get them up and then they would shut right back down. So I couldn't for the life of me figure out why they would do that. And then I remembered, oh, I've got ILO with these machines because they're HP servers. And I do have, these are, let's see, these are 2016 and 2019 servers. So the ML30s. And so some of them have the separate networking port meant for ILO. Some of them are combined. So I've got all of those cables plugged in and the ILO portion was still up. So I knew the machine was technically fine. I knew there was power and all of that. So I went in and looked at ILO and there was a error on the environment. All of the fans were fine. Everything was fine except for one sensor that was I forget the name of it, event 1 ambient temperature or something like that, was critical. And it was like at 104 degrees or something like that. And so I called AJ, the admin junior for this site. And I told him, I said, I think you've got, a power issue, AC issue. And he's like, oh, no. That room is super cold. That's not it. So I'm like, okay. And since it was before 9 o'clock, nobody was in the office. And he's like, can you just go? And I really didn't want to go. I'm like, can you just, when somebody gets there, just have them go in and check? No. I need you to go. This is what I pay you for. I'm like, you try not to pay me. So the bottom line is I drove there, got into the server room. Yes. Inferno, burning, hot. They have one of the wall-mounted wall duct units in there. Nothing. So basically, we propped open the door. I went around to the offices and found a couple of fans and turned the fans on and let the AC was working for the rest of the office. So the room cooled off enough to turn those servers on and they stayed on. But it was just something where I got to, call AJ because he wasn't coming in the office to tell him, yeah, it was the AC. I told you there was something going on in there. And he's like, oh, what a mess. But it was great to have validation to let him know that I saw what was going on there. I saw that you were having a heat issue. You didn't want to believe me. So now you've got to pay a trip charge for me to show up there and confirm that. And then, of course, they still have to pay for the AC guys. So not much there, but just wanted to give that tip. Try to monitor everything, including the temperature in a server room if you still have servers. I know some of you hate servers, but I like them. My customers still have to have them, so we support them. I am going to move a couple of things around because I have sitting in the green room. Remember, I told you I put out a back signal call to a friend of mine, so I'm going to bring him up now. You all know him as somebody that has basically helped us with ConnectWise IT Nation. I now call him Mr. IT Nation, Mr. Sean Lardo from ConnectWise, who is now the Vice President of IT Nation Communities. Mr. Lardo, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm doing quite well, Marv. I really love your choice your selection of pictures.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Doing great though. Just recovering. How about you?
Yeah. Did you have any travel issues getting home?
Zero.
Nice.
I was so fortunate. I had a Saturday morning flight, and immediately I started looking. I talked to the hotel. I was like, hey, can we stay another night if need be, just in case or whatever. But no, it was actually quite nice. I was
Oh, very
told on Friday that the security was no problem, but the gates were crazy.
right.
I didn't have any of that.
Oh, good.
Just the regular kids crying because they're leaving Disney.
Yep. Dogs
The
missed you.
parents crying because they're broke.
All right, my friend. Let's see. Let me first ask. You're recovering, but I'm sure you've had some feedback. I'm sure people have, reached out to tell you their thoughts and everything about this year's conference, the PitchIT competition. But from your perspective, where you sit, now that it's over and done with, at least for now, how do you feel? How do you think it went?
Overall, I thought it went really well. And this is coming like for me from working with a partner to be involved in 19 Nation to being a vendor to sponsoring it to now being fully involved in running part of it. It's it had a nice feeling. Well, for us, it's a great success because we work our butts off, right? Uh, but all in all, it was really good. There is room for improvement. We've already had our postmortem of things between, and this is stuff that we thought internally, and then also things that we heard from some of the people we talked to, from both vendors and partners. What the biggest complaint has been so far.
Not enough snacks in between sessions.
Shocking. No, but actually, it has to do with sessions. People complaining that they couldn't get to see all the content. They wanted to be on multiple tracks. I haven't heard that in years. So that means we did a really nice job of content across the board instead of because a lot of times you can go to an event, our events included, and there might be there's a sprinkled amount of really good sessions, like great ones you want to be at, and then there's ones that you're like, I can do without. But the fact that our biggest complaint was exactly that there was just they couldn't go to the other sessions, and the other part to that was making them more aware that they should bring their stakeholders or their whoever their role-based people are.
Okay.
Now,
here's the thing with a conference that size. Now, I mean, I don't know if the numbers are official, but of course, we're talking over 5,000 MSPs, IT leaders. You guys had an estimated 200 educational sessions over the week. So the question is, nobody can physically make all the sessions they want to anyway.
Sure. No, that's fair. Well, so you got to figure for the events area, right? The industry for events. Our job is to be a good place for people to come and congregate. So that ConnectWise and all the vendors increase the audience size for them to actually promote to, right, and prospect. So that's our first and foremost job. So when you're creating content, and actually keep in mind too, because we changed the way our agenda worked and our schedule, we cut off almost a half of a day of content of the normal one. So we're talking there's more sessions than that even typically, but we cut off those because we rolled our agenda around, and we're in preparation because in 2 years we'll be moving the event over to the Gaylord, and we'll also be switching the days of the event from a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we're just trying to get accustomed to that.
Oh,
yes.
You're gonna kill my week, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Marv. I'll let them know that. I'll put that in the complaints category.
All right.
Got you.
I like coming in on Sunday and going to Wednesday, or coming in on Wednesday, leaving Saturday. I like that.
Oh, well, I'll let them know that that's what you want. And
all right.
I'm sure they'll take it in their heavy. Well, I'm sure they'll take their heavy advisement.
Well, tell them it'll affect my steak knife budget.
Well, and so again, back to there isn't anybody that's going to be able to make it to all that content, right?
Right.
But that's my point about increasing the audience size. you should be, as an MSP, obviously based off size of MSP. If you're just a 3 to 5 person shop, this may not apply to you. But if you're a larger MSP, you should be looking at events for having content that can educate not just you, but your service delivery or your sales or your whatever. You should be looking for those things, and you should demand it, because again, these are the only times of the year that you can actually get people to a place and get some outside education from what you're getting right now. I mean, you can get them online, of course, but not everybody can be educated that way, nor meet people or increase network size either from that.
Yeah. This is the type of event where you can bring your team, divide and conquer.
Correct. You should really pay attention to. I mean, we put the agenda out, and once the app is up and you register, you get access to the app. You should literally be planning your trip with you and your COO and whoever else is going, and do that divide and conquer. There's a lot, and actually something to really think about what MSPs aren't taking advantage of, and this is our fault too a little bit, because we don't promote it enough. On that Wednesday, everybody calls it a pre-day, right? It's like a pre-day event, but really it's not. We started doing workshop Wednesdays where there's actually content on the essentials of ConnectWise stuff and for MSP growth and whatever else. So there's actually a huge amount of content that takes place on Wednesday that people aren't taking full advantage of, because we've never really told them they should. Yet we do have sponsored workshops as well, but yet there's still all this content exists. And actually, when we go to London for IT Nation Europe in March, it'll be Masterclass Monday, because the event starts on a Monday, and it'll be the same concept where we're doing workshops and hands-on educational pieces instead.
All right. Well, I can tell you this. I think that Wednesday content cut into the PitchIT competition.
Yes, which is the best part of the day for me.
That really should have been the main focus for Wednesday.
You know what? I tried to tell them I thought we should be on the keynote stage instead. That's what we're working towards. But I will say, PitchIT is a masterclass that everybody should come to look at to see how somebody should present their company.
Yeah.
For as effective as they are.
So speaking of PitchIT 2025, the 3 finalists, if you are somewhere under a rock, were Threat Captain, Meso, and Strategy Overview.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that was the order. The top prize went to Strategy Overview. Meso came in second there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Threat Captain.
I had to do the back alley gifting of the steak knives to the Threat Captain.
It's honestly, it's a badge of honor no matter what. You went up against, there were 22 vendors in this year, and you're amongst the top 3 of the vendors. And to be selected as one of the top 3, people don't realize how much work goes into it. But by the time they're prepped and they go to pitch, we do the public one with the channel program, right? Where there's MSPs that are doing surveys.
The Battle Royale.
Yep, the Battle Royale takes place, and they do real-time surveys. And then we get the results at the end of the day, and those results are quantified off the survey results, And then they have the other pitch, which this year we had 9 judges that do the private pitch that nobody sees, where they get to do the 5 minutes of pitching and 10 minutes of Q&A. So all within a handful of weeks, these vendors went through both of those. And that, the 5 minute, I mean, they're both nerve-wracking in their own right, because you're getting ready to pitch. That's always a nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah.
But that private pitch is a lot. They get beat up, and the coaches are and not the coaches, but the judges, these 9 judges, they're from different areas of responsibilities. Or they're handpicked from marketing and sales and product development and security, and so all their questions are based off where their swim lane is, and they seriously tear them up.
Yeah. I do want to ask this question because I'm sure it's going to come up, but is there going to be some sort of ban going forward on bringing up children and pets on stage to help pitch?
Well, a ban, I can't say, because it's hard to say. First off, a team can be represented by who they want to be represented by.
Oh.
But So if you want to hire talent, go hire talent. I don't care. The
Can they
goal is
can
to
they
win.
can they tag team though? Can it be a 2-person team?
Yeah, we've already had that. As a matter of fact, when Thread won, it was 2 on
Yeah,
stage.
but yeah, that's true.
When
But
Vaughn and I took
they
second
weren't
place,
they weren't bringing in the cuteness factor though.
well, we're at a cutest factors at a premium in this industry. First off, I mean, have you seen us? We're not good-looking people, but no, I mean, you're able to have whatever you want represented if you're willing to take the chance.
All right.
And plus, it's kind of hard for me to say no to like a 7-year-old girl to be able to experience something that it takes decades for some of us to ever experience, if ever. You
And
know?
I guess she does have an official title with the company, so there's that as well, right?
So we even kept it without even being hired help. She's actually the intern president.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, you'll have to go out on LinkedIn. I didn't prep for this. There is a few pictures of that cuteness factor on stage introducing Daddy and prepping him for his pitch there.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I didn't tell anybody that you were coming on, but of course, somehow Keith Nelson has made his way in here and sees you there. And I was going to ignore the shirt as long as possible. Not sure that was appropriate attire there, but it's okay. You're Mr.
Oh,
IT
dear
Nation.
Lord. One of my colleagues said that Keith is Beetlejuice. If you say his name or my name 3 times, he shows up somehow.
It happens.
I said it's more like the Candyman, which is much creepier. But who's to say? No. All right. Well, so how did you feel about the event? I think is the important question.
Well, let me say this. I think there's a quote from the keynote that Manny Ravello gave that should sum up the conference for everybody and give them an idea of where ConnectWise is going. And if ConnectWise does do this and make it happen, I will be very happy and impressed. He said that ConnectWise's pledge is to make life simpler, more efficient, and more profitable for MSPs. That's the quote I took away from that and said, okay, let's see how that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. That's an accurate statement from him. He's not said it just to the general public. He's said it internally in a meeting. So, and the goal is to, I'm going to use the dreadful word of ASIO. ASIO's it's been launching piece by piece, but the goal for that is supposed to be a platform. One ring to rule them all, but not really ruling them all. If anything, being a better conduit to all the other things with other vendors, with integrations and everything else. That's really the goal behind it.
Yeah.
So you do that. I think that you've been in a space for a long time, so and the struggle between vendor partner is the ability to shop and then to have them all work together in a very symbiotic way, meaning all the platforms. So, and that's everything from whatever you're consuming internally to use it for operational efficiency for your MSP, or even for if you resell products or you're supplying products to your clients that you're going to find. I mean, how many times have some people gone drive to Best Buy to pick up hardware, a laptop, whatever, right? When they maybe could work through a vendor. So this multi-portal platform, every technology approach is taxing on every company, and it becomes a time suck. So, if we obviously aren't here to be the marketplace to resell hardware, but as a software company, the goal is to be able to make sure everything can interlock together much more efficiently, effectively, and that you guys as a whole can use them. I mean, that's really the important piece. Is it all going to happen? No, because not everybody will play nice together. We know that. But if we can eliminate some, that's great.
Yeah. Keith says, I think the gold standard for ASIO will be the SIEM update and integration to the stack, since it will use a proactive agent versus log shipping. This is a game changer.
I would agree. I know that they have big plans that they're working on with it right now. If any of you had a chance to ever meet Russ Humphreys that works with us and John Helms and them, they're very much big into the product development piece, and that was a big part of the conversation. So we'll see, Keith. I don't know.
Yep. So the significant update there with the new agentic security features, AI-driven workflows, more autonomous operations. The significant update now, ConnectWise MDR coming out, advanced RPA. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, as long once we deliver, like you said, then you're happy. That's a day-to-day business. That's not the event.
Right.
You were busy at the event.
Yes, I was. Although I did have to leave early. I was not there Friday. So I actually had to do some client visits in the area because you are in my home state. So I have a couple of clients in the Maitland and Lakeland area that I had to visit. So I had to do that. But yeah, I came in Tuesday night, did the PitchIT stuff on Wednesday, did a few interviews and interviews all day Thursday. So those will be coming out.
How do you like that studio?
So I will say this, nice improvement to Radio Row or Podcasters Row. I know that some people will talk about needing a roof over our heads to help with sound, but I'll be honest, I was okay with it. It was better than it has been in the past. I think that having it in the same place makes it easier for guests to come and find us.
Yep.
I do like the little mural that you guys put up with all of the podcasters, our names and faces there. That was pretty nice.
Yep.
And
I thought it turned out really nice. Bigger than expected. Like the entire amount of real estate we took up, the build out was much bigger.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I knew that if we were doing something along the lines, but I did not see it like that. As a matter of fact, MJ Shure from GTIA was like, "Oh, we're going to steal this for ChannelCon." I said, "Of course you are."
Of course, yeah. It was nice. I mean, I will say this: plenty of space for all of us, which was always my concern. Some of them had the double tables, which was actually extra nice. So I do like that. So I will, of course, be fighting for double tables again if I'm allowed back for that. And the rest of the event, from what I did see with, here's the thing: when you do the same venue, it does become easy for things to flow. You know where to go. You know how to get from place to place. I do know the Gaylord, so I'm okay with that move. Sometimes when the place,
I'm glad you're okay with that move. Thank you, Marvin. I'll let them know that.
I'm okay with. You got the Uncle Marv seal of approval for that.
Right. Appreciate that.
The cost of the rooms and stuff. We'll talk about that later.
You can't just stay positive on it, right?
Well, here's why. Here's why. So my wife is packing food for me because anytime I go to a conference or hotel or whatever, we're used to having. I usually get the suite, so I get the kitchen, the full fridge, the stove, microwave, and stuff. Most of them have a microwave, not the rosin shingle. It had the dorm room fridge.
Yep.
No microwave, and the coffee maker was in the bathroom. So I get there.
And she's being efficient.
She's packed me some chicken that I couldn't do anything with because I couldn't microwave it.
Talk about being efficient, though. You can get your coffee started while you're brushing your teeth or you're hopping in the shower. It's an amazing concept.
Yeah, it is.
See?
Everything right there.
Everything. Literally everything is right there.
So I forget. I don't think the Gaylord has microwaves in there. You know why? Because those places, they're resorts. They want you to go out and eat in the restaurants. They want you to be, spending money, more money with them. So why would they make it easier for you to eat in your room?
More money is yes.
Oh, hang on.
I know. I see the show off.
Keith, I had a microwave in my suite. Of course, he had a suite. I did not. I was. I can't comment on that. I cannot comment. All right. Well, as for the rest of the event, again, I mean, the event is the event. You know, the big
Yes.
ones. You know, you guys all have to. You know, there's a lot of logistics that you guys have to do.
Yes.
The Goo Goo Dolls, interesting choice, but seems to be well received. And of
Hmm.
course, you can't go wrong with Universal.
Oh yeah. Well, and you didn't get to see Gary Sinise then because he did nice. It was our keynote speaker.
No, I believe I was cramming in 2 more interviews.
I'll tell you what, it was a very interesting keynote because it wasn't a regular keynote that he just went up there and presented to us. Actually, Peter Kajawa sat down and interviewed him instead and asked questions about things. And he was telling just like the story of his life from how he got involved. Uh, and he said something that was really actually I think is so applicable to our industry when he said, he said he was in a they started up like this theater, this amateur theater they were doing. They were trying to get it off the ground. And he's sitting there and he never went to college. He has no degree. And he said he's sitting in the room talking to these colleagues of his or whatever, and they all have these degrees from these like the Ivy schools of acting, I
Juilliard
guess,
and
right? Like Juilliard or whatever it is, right? Stuff like that. So, and he says so he's sitting there with these people from with degrees that are obviously supposed to be smarter than him, and he realized he had nothing to bring to the table to compete or compare, at least the way he saw it that way. So instead of always talking about it, he became a doer. So he just would talk. If they talked about it, he would then go actually do it. So he's always doing things. So that's why still to this day he's always doing things. So his equity was sweat equity instead of, and even though he was equally as smart but didn't realize it, but he kept just doing. And I feel like in our industry specifically, there's a lot of business owners that have no college but
oh yeah,
knew they liked IT
yep,
and self-taught, and they became just doers. And that's how you see all this and it's a grassroots industry.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I love that comment. I thought it was great. That stuck to me because I was thinking, yes, that's me. That's most of us, almost all of us.
very nice. Well, Sean, thank you very much for putting on a great event. I'm going to give you all the credit. You are Mr. IT Nation now.
You can't give me nearly all the credit. We we have a whole events team. We have a whole marketing team. We have a whole IT
Yep.
Nation team, and honestly, these events they're taxing getting ready for.
Yep. They are.
There's a lot of people do a lot of things, and it's nice because you can start to see come Friday, everybody starts to like simmer down. You can see it on their shoulders, which is nice. So,
Yep.
so yeah, thank you. As always, I appreciate that you're involved in helping us out, helping me out mostly. I appreciate even Keith for donating and creating tons of awareness to all the situations that connect wise and IT Nation. But no, and like it was a good week last week. It was a great week.
Yeah.
So I look forward to further improvements and hopefully even further less complaints.
All right. Well, I know that I asked you to hop on for a bit. I didn't have you commit for the whole show, but I want to be mindful of your time. Do you need to go or do you want to stay? I'm going to do swag later, but I want to thank some sponsors first.
Oh, nope. I got to go take care of things here. I
All
figured
right.
I'm glad I had the time I had with you. Thank you for bringing me on.
Well, thank you, sir. And I will let you go. And as we do so, say goodbye to Mr. IT Nation. Let me go ahead and say thank you to ThreatLocker for being our presenting sponsor of the live show. ThreatLocker puts you in the driver's seat with deny by default protection. Only trusted software runs, while ransomware and unknown threats are blocked instantly. Now, I also want to say thank you, especially to the other sponsors that you see on the screen, particularly LionGuard, Rhythms, TrueGrid, and BVoIP. They are the travel sponsors for when I go out and have to, get to events, because regardless of what we're doing as a media person, if we get comped a ticket, we still got to pay for our travel and sometimes accommodations. So I thank them for doing that. They get a travel banner while we're on site there, and they all helped me do that throughout the conferences for both ASCII Cup and IT Nation. So thank you to Sean for letting me be a part of the event. So with that, let's see our time here. Sean saying goodbye. All right, let's do a couple of things here. We did a recap of IT Nation. The other conference that I was at was the ASCII Tup in Philadelphia. And yes, it was cold there, but I will say this. It was colder here in Florida the last 2 nights than it was in Philadelphia, and people don't understand that. The relative cold being 46 degrees in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the real feel was 31, which is, of course, why I had to put out the iguana advisory because they would freeze and fall from trees. And that's how cold it was the last 2 nights here, even in Fort Lauderdale. It was cold up in Philly, but I got to experience it wasn't my first cheesesteak, but it was a cheesesteak at Steve Copeland's friend's place, Shay's Steaks. It was all right. I don't want to go over the top with it. It wasn't bad. I mean, I don't know. Cheesecake. If anybody wants to invite me to go visit a better place, do that. But then we can compare. But I'm sure Steve will say his buddies is the best. I'm calling out Rhythms because they were actually considered the vendor of the year for their business in a box 5G platform. They won the ASCII Cup. They beat out PAX 8, last year's winner, who beat out Sonic Wall, who took 3rd place and was the previous. Well, technically, Sonic Wall wasn't the winner. Solutions Granted was your 3-time winner, 2022, 21, 22, 23. And then 24 was PAX 8. And this year was Rhythms. And Rhythms was my presenting sponsor for a live show that we did while in Philadelphia with Steve Copeland. Folks, if you are interested at all in being a part of the oldest IT group in the industry, 40 years strong, lots of discounts and stuff, head over to ASCII.com. And then if you want to be looking at the events for next year, ASCII will have 8 events around the country that you can go. The event is basically free of charge. You just got to get a coupon code from either an ASCII member if you're not, or if you are an ASCII member, you'll be a part of the membership there. And if you travel, you might get a free hotel night. But events.ascii.com will give you the 2026 schedule for next year and another great event. So before we run out of time here, I do want to obviously talk about swag. So I mentioned my road trip starting in Lakeland, where I went to go visit Taher over at MSP Camp. And I do need to show, first of all, that just my visiting there, Taher was able to give me some swag. I got some other stuff, but this is their camp mug that they got. It's a very nice mug. It's got some weight to it. It's not a plastic. This is you can hear that, pure ceramic. It's a nice size if you want to, do some soup maybe or coffee. You can kind of grab it there and hold on there. So thank you to Taher. And Taher and Steven both took me to a nice little lunch. Their office is literally 2 blocks from my client in Lakeland. So I figured it was time that I stopped by. I'd probably been going there a few years, and they've been in their office, so did that. As I go through this swag, folks, I'm not going to actually do a best swag out of anything. I'm just going to highlight what what I think are good things to consider, swag that caught my eye. And it's going to be a combination of both the ASCII Cup and IT Nation. And the reason you see me looking around and doing stuff, because on my phone and my iPads here, I've actually been getting this little pop-up. One of the swag items was an actual AirTag. And so I left that here on my desk, and every so often it basically pings the phone or whatever. And my first thought is, who gave us this AirTag? Because I didn't know. But when you open it up and pull it out, threat down, you probably can't see that on my screen, but threat down actually got their logo put on the AirTag that you can use and go for that. So that was a very good swag item. Thank you for that. You know what? I'm going to do this. So Super Ops has been a previous sponsor of the show. I do have an affiliate link for them. So when I first saw uh, this looks like a cosmetic case. It's got a mirror, but it also has USB cables. It's got a little thingamabobby that if your SIM card gets stuck in your phone, you can put, I don't know, it's a bunch of stuff. And my whole thought is, man, I don't think I would ever use something like this. I don't want to be sitting around with a cosmetic case type thing trying to pull these cables out. But what I did do is I came across this little bundle of joy, and these are earbuds with the Super Ops logo on them. I know you're not going to be able to see this, and since I'm not a YouTuber trying to hawk stuff, I don't have the pictures up, but there are two wireless earbuds that go into the ear. Most earbuds that I have gotten as swag are usually cheap. They don't work. They're, of course, the wired. These things were so good that I actually wore them while at IT Nation as I walked around the vendor hall, and people were looking at me going, really? You're wearing Super Ops gear? Because I normally don't wear vendor gear, but yes, I wore that. So they are magnetic. So they slip into this little case here. I'm doing a terrible job of showing this on video here, but that's how they pop out and charge in there. And you can see the charger on there, and they sound good. Not as good as Bose, but pretty darn good. So that is something I wanted to highlight to the folks over at Super Ops for putting together a decent swag bundle there. I will get out of the way. So one of the things that, if you've seen me, if you've heard me talk about it, when I go around and grab swag, of course, we're always looking at pens, probably the cheapest and easiest swag item. Uh, for a long time, I did not pick up pens, but now I go through and I grab all the pens, and I actually keep them around here. They sit in bins around the office so that if people need writing utensils and stuff, we have them. Um, and I always put it up to my ear and listen for the click. And I do have to say that almost everybody has done a very good job of getting away from the cheap plastic, crappy pens that break as soon as you leave the conference. So just about everybody now, from Pure Storage to MSP CFO, Movilla, Drive Savers, Sonic Wall, there's tons of others. Everybody has pretty much done a really good job of going to very nice, hefty, metal-based pens that now, even though I do the clicker test, I know that they're going to work. Now, the way that I test pens is I still come back and I still do a writing test with every single device. So I took this book from Cyrisma, this little notepad book, and I basically take all the pens and I do a little write test. And there are some pens that did not make the cut. All the ones here, probably about half of the pens made the cut. If your pens are scratchy when they write or the ink dies, again, as soon as you get home from the conference, that ain't right. I'm not going to call anybody out. Maybe someday I will, but I just wanted to talk about the pens. Now, probably a couple of years ago, I did make the comment that one of the things that I was really missing was a very nice USB charger cable. And when I say really nice, is a lot of the ones have gotten to be where they're really short. They're like maybe 6 inches. You've got a little tiny USB side on one, and then all of the things come out with like a little spider. And that's no good. They're too short. And who uses those? So this year, Ionos had their USB cable, and I thought, okay, there we go. I'm happy now. And it was nice. But then I went and saw this monstrosity, and this was put together by Pure Storage. Now, this is a USB cable. This is something that is going to last. It is long, as you can see. I can stretch it from my laptop across the table. But this sucker, man, it is nice. Even the ends, if you look at the way the connectors are, most of these USB cables, the ends are kind of flimsy and they'll fall apart and all of this. This looks like it's going to be heavy duty, industrial, stand up type thing. I went back and got two. That's how interested in this item I was. So the USB cable from Pure Storage, and it's got your typical. It's got the iPhone Lightning charger. It's got the micro USB and the USB C. But again, man, this thing, you could probably, I was going to say tie somebody up, but that's probably not an appropriate thing to say. I like this cable, Pure Storage. Kudos to you guys for making something that really is going to last there. Back to the mugs. So for a long time, I had just this one cup from MSP CFO, but I was able to now get the other color. So I have now both the white and the blue. So I've got the two camp mugs. They're very similar to the MSP camp that I had earlier. Again, nice mugs. I do like when vendors are not afraid to bring these types of mugs to the conference. I know some people are like, oh, but they'll break on the travel home and put them in the suitcase. You know what? I like it. Stuff that I would actually use. So kudos to them. And I will say this, I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I have a new swag category based on MSP CFO. So I won't spill the beans now, but I'm going to let you guys know when it comes time to do the swag announcements at the holiday party, there will be a brand new category just for them and all of that. Hats, I'm usually not a big fan of, but I do always look for hats that if I were to wear a hat, would it be something that would catch my interest or be something that I could wear out? And it's not something that as a tech that I would wear to a conference so that other techs would see. It's something that I would wear out and about as I'm just, doing my weekend thing, hanging out with buddies and friends. These are two hats that while they are techie, they're just plain enough that most people aren't going to know that they're tech hats right away. And I'm talking about this one from Movilla. And they've got the little blurpy infinity thing. They do have Movilla on the back there, but this is, it's a nice type hat that is moldy and fits in there. So that looks good. And then the 3-finger peace sign from Infima. It's a nice little hat there. Eye-catching. Again, simple. Not going to really draw too much attention. They've got Infima logo on the side there and a nice brim there as well. So if I were a hat person, yeah, this would be cool. So this will be hanging on the wall with the other hats. If you haven't seen it, folks, I've got a hat wall that I'll be showcasing a little bit later. What else is here? Oh, luggage tag. I've actually started to pay attention to these. This one is by Drive Savers, and it's nice. Well, I should have taken it out of the bag so you don't hear the stuff. But it is, I forget what they call it. silicone, so it should not rip or tear that easily. You can slide your card in there. Well, maybe it's not so good. That just came off. I don't know. I'll look at it, but it's a nice bright red, so that if you got that on your luggage, you'll notice it right away. The Drive Saver logo there, and I think this is it. No, let me tell you about this. So Crush Bank, actually, I almost walked by this and they were talking about swag. So a lot of people have been doing these little fanny packs, little travel bags. This one is very nice. And this is kind of not necessarily a travel bag or accessories, but this looks like something that you would carry around some electronics in. It's got a little pouch in the back. And it's got a little button there, little felt thing there. It's got some stuff in there. But the reason that I kind of like this one is that it's sturdy. A lot of the bags are just flimsy and cheap. This one, and you can hear the zipper there. This one feels like it's worth something. It's also got a little mesh pocket in the back there. I might use this for some podcast gear. So that was that. And I just need to give a shout out to Start, Grow, Manage. I love MRR only because normally I usually will identify a bag that will be big enough to complete my swag run in. Well, this is one where when I got to it, it actually wasn't, it didn't look like this. It was kind of balled up in a bunch. And as they were watching me walk around, they said, "You need to use our bag." And I'm like, "You don't have a bag." And they took the ball out and they unrolled it. And this is what it came out to. And it's basically a bag that fits all the other bags and the swag stuff in. So nice size of a swag bag. So shout out to them. And I think last, well, not last, because you'll see something in a minute. I think I may change one of my long-standing policies and start wearing vendor gear, but it's probably going to be socks. So I've been accumulating socks and I've been sending them up to the cabin in Georgia. For those of you that do not know, my wife's family has a cabin up there. Her brother and his family, they bought an old cabin, refurbished it, and so he, his kids, us, and other friends, we all go there for their family Christmas, the first or second week in December. And so I've usually would just grab all these socks and send them up to the cabin. Everybody kind of sits around and does all that. But I will probably start wearing some of these socks because some of them are subtle enough for me. They're not overpowering. There's your Black Point socks. This one is Sonic Wall. I like to wear black socks and I can have the little color kind of complement what I'm wearing in terms of shirts. Now, these socks here are probably not the colors I would wear from Sonomi and Ave Point, but they're nice socks. And the reason I have all of these here is normally I didn't really pay too much attention to socks until somebody, and I don't remember who, but they really wanted to sell me on these socks. And they were like, "You know what? These things are made in the USA." And I said, "Well, really? That can't be true because cheap socks are made overseas." But no, these socks, all of these here, come from a company called the Sock Club. And the socks are made using the finest combed cotton sourced from the the southeastern United States. They are designed in Austin, Texas, and manufactured in North Carolina. And I usually do pay attention to the feel of the socks. These are 75% cotton, 21% nylon, 4% spandex. And now I'm like, I like socks that are this blend. And I love the fact that they are designed, well, they are, at first of all, sourced, designed, and manufactured here in the US. So I am going to start supporting anybody that is bringing us socks especially from the sock club. So all of that there. And last but not least, behind me, you see the Cavello horse brought to me by Larry Metter. That will not be his permanent spot, but I do want to highlight that Larry Metter has made it a point the last 2 times he has visited me at the podcast booth to bring us something. He brought the Cavello jersey, which hangs in my rafters, and now Flash, the Cavello horse, is there. So, all right. Well, we are coming up to an hour, folks. So I am going to go ahead and end off the show. That was the recap of ASCII Edge, IT Nation, and a visit from Sean Lardle, the Vice President of IT Nation Communities at ConnectWise, otherwise known as Mr. IT Nation. Feel free to call him that. It will annoy the living hell out of him. Next week, I have a guest. I believe his name is Keith Ellis, and we are going to talk about the hatred of best practice. That should be interesting. I hope that you will join us here live next week. Between now and then, you are going to be seeing a lot of podcasts come into your feed if you are subscribing on any of the podcatchers, because we are still putting out episodes that were recorded at IT Nation. All of the ones from ASCII Edge are out. We've got the first 4 or 5 from IT Nation. I believe I've got about, 11 more to go, 12 more to go. And so those will be coming out 2 a day over the next couple of weeks. So a lot of content for you. And then, of course, we're gearing up for the holiday season, which will begin with my Black Friday preview that will happen just before Thanksgiving. And then after that, it will be all holiday podcasts through the rest of the year. We are working on some very interesting holiday podcasts. They are going to be, they're going to be pretty interesting. Let's just say that. I've got 3 holiday podcasts lined up instead of just the regular one. So be looking forward to that in the month of December. Yeah, I think that's it. We will have the regular survey so you can vote on best guest, best episode, best swag, and a couple of other things I'm working on with some vendors here. But that's going to do it, folks. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for indulging me as we reviewed swag. We'll get back to some more tech stories and tips, all to help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. Tune in on your favorite podcatcher. We'll see you back here soon. And until then, holla.